What's up, Notjust developers? Welcome back to a new live stream. Today is day 17 of DEVember, our month-long marathon of React Native tutorials. The topic of today's video is going to be managing global state in React Native using Zustand. So the goal is to get started, install and set up Zustand in React Native, learn about the concepts and how to use this library to manage state at a global level in a React or a React Native application. So we're going to use that, for this, we're going to use that ToDo application. We have a user interface built in the previous days, and we're going to focus on the global state in this video. Before we get started, let me remind about the DEVember, our month-long marathon. So every day we're doing a new live tutorial here on YouTube, and you'll find all the videos on our channel. If you are on your journey to learn and become a React Native developer, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we do a lot of React Native and Expo tutorials here. If you have ideas, make sure to submit them to our idea board. You'll find the link to the description below, and I will choose some ideas because we still have 7 days. We still have 1 week for DEVember. And DEVember is not only about learning, it's also about giving back. During DEVember, we are organizing a fundraiser called Education for Children, and we are partnering up with the Save the Children organization to support the efforts in providing accessible education to children worldwide. If you are interested, you can find the Donate Now pop-up directly here on YouTube, and I would be very thankful if you can help with this cause. We also have some incentives, and I would like to say a big thank you to Rogelio, Stuart, Sagar, Vale, Travis, and others who already donated. All right, guys, so shall we get started? Hello everyone who is joining this live. I hope that today we didn't mess up anything with the live stream, because previous 2 days it was connecting like with a different URL, but now I see that everything should be nice. Hello Ifani, hello Daniel, Dananjaya. All right guys, so let's see our application. So here we have it. Let me make it so you will see it. The source code you will find in the DEVember repository. Also, the link is in the description. And here I keep track of all the days with separate branches. So let's actually set up the branch for today together. Give me just 1 second to push the day 16 and yesterday we learned about the context for global state management, and today we're going to upgrade this solution to a proper library to manage the global state. Origin, let's do day 16. Start, not start. Should have been day 16 and. All right, so now I pushed the repository as it is to a branch called day 17 start. So after you clone the repository from here, you'll have to do git checkout day 17/start, and we're gonna be on the same branch and working in the same application. So let's have a look at day 16, which was yesterday. Here we implemented this to-do list application using React context. We also implemented persistence to the data, filtering, searching, and so on. But the problem is that React context was not designed to manage global state. It was designed to fix the prop drilling issue and to share some state or some access to some state to different components directly without having to pass through properties. It's a great solution for data that changes rarely, such as the theme or some settings of application. And when it comes to state that changes very often, it's a bit less performant, less optimal, because whenever something changes in our React context, everything down below will have to re-render, even if the data that changes does not change for a specific component, it will be re-rendered. So if we have like very nested and deep trees in our application, a small change will basically re-render everything, which will hurt the performance of application. A better approach is to use a global state and let components subscribe to specific data changes and let components re-render only when the data that they depend on changes. And that's the principle of how Zustand is working. And let's go to their homepage. Where is it? I was impressed by their landing page here. Look at this beautiful bear. Let's go to the documentation and we're gonna start installing it, but first let's prepare our project for day 17. What I'm suggesting is to go ahead and duplicate day 16, rename it to day 17, and this way we're going to have a starting point, an application that manages state using React context. I realize that I'm not sharing the screen, but the only thing that I did, and I can do it again, is back in our application. We're gonna go to the days and let's duplicate day 16 folder, rename it to day 17. And as I was saying, this way we're gonna start with a ToDo application that works with a React context, and we're gonna have to upgrade to Zustand. So I'm gonna only change a bit here in the index. Day 17. Here the button will have to redirect us to day 17 to do, not to the old one, and go to the ToDo. Now inside the ToDo here, I think that I'm also going to go into the components and duplicate the components folder for day 16. Let's do that here. Day 17. I'm gonna go quickly through these components to see if it has anything imported that we don't need. Okay. Everything looks okay. Now back in our application directory for the screens, let's open ToDo. Let's start with underscore layout and fix the imports, because we need to import from components from day 17 in order to, when updating them, to see the effect actually. And inside the index here as well, let's see, wherever we see day 16 should be changed to day 17 here as well. And we can even do a day 16 search to make sure that we don't import any old components. Now let's quickly reload the application. I'm gonna do a quick overview of the files and what we have currently, and go to the day 17 ToDo app with Zustand. That means that it's correctly edited here. Let's go to the ToDo, and here is going to be the ToDo. We can even change the title to ToDo to make sure that we are actually on that page that uses Zustand for state management. Okay, perfect. So let's have a quick overview of what do we have. The focus of today is on this page. So this page is our day 17 ToDo folder, and it's made up of the page, which is this index.tsx. Our index has the ToDo screen. It uses where. It uses the use tasks hook imported from our tasks context provider. So this is what we are going to change, where the data is coming from. And it renders them in a flat list here below. Now we have a layout that actually provides the context provider. And in the components here, we have the components that we need. Together with the context provider, the task list item, which represents one of these lines, and the new task input, which represents at the bottom the input that automatically appears as the last item. So that's what we have to work with. And yeah, basically we're gonna, starting with the to-do screen, we're gonna have to change where we get the tasks. And then in different components, we also need functions from the global state, like information about the task, or functions to delete them, update them, and so on. All right, so let's go ahead let's go ahead and check the documentation of Zustand. And I was not sharing the screen, so I'm gonna share the landing page once again. Look at this. Isn't it pretty? All right, let's see how easy it is to integrate. I'm gonna jump into the introduction. Let's go ahead and install the Zustand library in our application. So I'm gonna do a clear and then npm install. Now, what do we have to do? We need to create a store, and the store is going to be the place where we have our state and also functions that will update that state. So that means that let's think where we're going to create the store. Probably that's going to be a separate file, and we don't create files other than screens in our application directory. So let's go into the components directory, day 17, and here let's create a new file, tasks store.tsx. In this task store, we need to create the store that will contain our tasks. Let's copy the boilerplate here, but we actually don't need the boilerplate. We actually simply have to import create function from Zustand, then define the store, which we can actually let's rename this variable to use tasks store, and let's export from this file to be able to import it later. Well, we're not gonna count berries, we're gonna have an array of tasks. But it's not zero, it's an array. So yeah, that's it, that's our store. Let's have a look how we can use the data for this store in some of our components. If we go to day 17, we need the list of tasks inside our to-do screen. At the moment, we are using this get filtered tasks from our tasks context provider, but now we need to use the newly created task store to get access to these tasks. To do that, if I look in the documentation, all we have to do is import that use store function and take access to it. So let's go ahead and I think we're gonna get suggestions to auto import. So I can do tasks equal use tasks store, because that's how we called it in our store here, and we also exported it. And just like that, we can maybe take like store, this is store, and we can do console log store.tasks. If I have a look here in the console, we see the empty array that was there. Just using the use task store, this will basically subscribe to changes of every state variable from this store. Well, at this moment, yes, we have only one state variable. Later, this store is going to grow. So we want to basically subscribe only to the tasks state from our store. To do that, we provide here a function that will receive the whole state. So we can say state and will return the value from the state that we depend on, like state.tasks. And the result will already be tasks here, so we can console log only the tasks. If I go to day 17, go here, yes, we see them. Perfect. Now I think we can take these tasks, give them in our flat list, and start from here, from an empty list of tasks. Let's go ahead and maybe import the dummy tasks to use as the initial one. So if I'm going to write here dummy tasks, it doesn't want to import automatically, but it's from this file. It's an array of tasks. So now right away we have the ToDo, the dummy tasks initially when we load the application. Perfect. Let me see if there are any questions. Hello, Remoch. Hello, Full Stack Pro. I started studying React Native with you. That's so cool. Thank you. Please remember to consider creating an OCR application. Did you submit the idea on the idea board? If more people are interested, we'll definitely do it. What do you think about RTK queries? I think great solution. Good morning. Hello, Rogelio. I'm Genta. Hello from Indonesia. Hello. How to make responsive in React Native? That's a hard question to answer. Try to use, instead of fixed width, relative width, like percentage-wise based on the screen, and start there. Then you can use like max widths, and then you can also get into conditionals, like checking if the screen is large. You can have like multiple columns. So it's a lot of custom. Where is Lucas? Lucas is working at his startup. All right, guys, so let's continue because we just got started. We created the stores, we initialize the state in the store, and we also used it already in our component to render it. Let's go ahead and do what? Start with some updates to this state. Let's have a look at what do we need. Should we create a function in our store that will give us the filtered tasks? The function will be called getFilteredTasks, and we can have a look in the tasks context provider how we implemented this getFilteredTasks. We can copy this function from here because it's going to be similar, and let's put it in our task store. It's not going to be a const, it's going to be a property. So let's say getFilteredTasks, double dots, and the value is going to be an arrow function. I don't think we're going to... Let's see. Maybe we jumped too fast. State, yes, state, it updates the state. Okay, so tasks, we are going to get them from the second property here. We can also have a getter, and using the getter inside the function we can get a list of current tasks, const, or we can do here get is it state? State.tasks.filter, and at the end we need another bracket. Oh boy, wait a second. So get. This is the first time I'm also using Zustand, so it's going to be a learning for me as well. Updating state. So to update the first name, we call the set. Okay. Okay. So yeah, maybe we jump too fast with this filtered. We'll see how to implement these kind of getters. A better approach is going to be to update something here in tasks, because we saw how to get things, but how to update them we haven't. One of the updates in our context provider is adding a task. Let's copy this function in our task store, and we're going to remove a const from here and replace it with the key of the object is add task, the value is title string. Here, let's import the type task from task context provider. Maybe we're gonna have to move it here, but we'll see. For the UUID, we have to import this library because when creating new items, we are generating a new ID, title false. And here, instead of set tasks, we're gonna use this set. So we can do set. In the set, we're gonna get the tasks. We're gonna get the current state. And we need to do state dot tasks new task. So that's basically this one. And I will not return actually anything. So just like that. Maybe we're gonna have to define the type of this store in a moment, but yeah, let's see. So now we have a function that will receive a title and will add to the existing tasks from the state, will add a new task. Let's try to import this add task where it's going to be part of our new task input. This is the component that we are using to create a new task. Currently, it's working with a context provider, but we want to import the add task function. I'm going to comment over the previous one. From our use task store. And again, we don't want to take to get access to everything. We only want to get access to the state.addTask function. Now, add task will be called when we create one with this variable. Let's test it. If I go here, hello, enter, it's not working. it's not working. Let's debug it. Let's do here const, not const, but console log adding new task. So if I write here something, it's saying that it's adding, but it's actually not happening. So let me double check how to update things. Set state, and we need to return yes, we need to actually return a new object with a new property. So that's my mistake. I return an array, but I need to return a new state object, and the state object, this array, belongs to the tasks property. And here I need to close this too. Now if I do here hello, enter, it correctly adds it to the list. So the setter that we get when creating the store, in the setter we need to send a function that will receive all the state and should return a partial state with the fields that we want to update. Okay. Cool. So this one works. Add task was migrated. That means that from the task input, we no longer depend on the task's context provider. I can remove it from here and move to the next part. Another thing is when clicking on one item, we want to set it to checked and unchecked. Let's see in the context provider this function. This function here is called not add, not delete, or maybe we should implement delete first. Yeah, that would be an easier one. So let's take again the whole function, move it to our store, and change it to the proper format, where the name delete task is going to be a property and the value is going to be a function. A function that has to update the current tasks from state. How do we do that? We use, to update the state, we use the set method. The set method expects a callback function where we will receive a whole state and we need to return an updated state. The updated state will contain the tasks that will be filtered. That would be state.tasks.filter, and we'll look for this ID. Now I can remove this one. And yeah, delete task. Let's go ahead. Inside our task list item, here we need the delete task somewhere in the right actions. It's using the delete task. I'm going to comment it out and I'm going to import the delete task from our use tasks store. And we only need access to the state.delete task. Let's see if it works. I'm going to go to 17. If I delete this one, it actually works. So deleting works, and that means that here we need the use tasks here, right? For what? Oh, for changes finished. Changes finished, yes, that's the next one that we depend on. And we need to, this is for updating an existing item. So let's see the implementation. I don't actually see it here. Change is, oh, here, change is finished. Let's copy the logic into our store. Let's remove const and replace this one with dots. And at the end we need a comma. Now change is finished, we'll receive an ID, and we need to update the array of tasks. We will do that by calling the set. We're gonna get access to the existing state, and we're going to return a new partial state where tasks is going to be equal to state.tasks dot, and let's see what are we doing here. We are mapping over them and updating the one that we are looking for. So let's delete this one. I hope it works. Now, yeah, we also need to import it inside our day 17 task list item. In the actual task list item component where we import changes finished from use tasks, we're going to switch to changes finished from use task store, and we only take a state dot change is finished. Let's see if it works. Again, my simulator stops working, or my computer lags. I don't know what's happening actually. Heard there was an interest to use MMKV rather than async storage for performance. My question is, I'm waiting for the question. Hello, Akash. Akash is saying, hi, I'm Akash. I bought your full stack course and learned and built an organ donation application called OrganEase. Hope you remember me. I'm Akash. Yes, you built the application during the hackathon, right? Impressive. Hey, why my application is stuck? Let's reload. Let's run again on iOS. Do something. Close. Open again. And let's go to 17. And our updating from the status should work. If I change, yes, it works correctly. Nice, perfect. So that means that in task list item, we no longer need the use tasks that is coming from context. We see we don't need this one here. And the type task that is coming from context, we can leave it for a moment. We might delete it a bit later. We'll give him a bit of time to think about. Anyway, so our task store is already looking good. We have tasks, we have functions to update them, to delete, to change, and so on. What else? What else? We still need the search functionalities and the filtering. So let's see why we couldn't implement that there. I'm gonna start from scratch and slowly console log and learn about how to do it. What we need is we don't need a setter, we need a getter to work with them and filter. It's a computed property. So maybe I can write here computed. Don't see. But what I can do is, get filtered tasks. Let's start by copying it again in our store at the end here. I'm gonna replace this one to fix our issues, and I might comment it out just to get started. Let's do a console log tab and search query. And let's import get filters in our screen. The screen is the one that imports get filtered tasks. Currently, it's importing them from use tasks, but we are going to move them to I'm gonna remove them from here and import them from use tasks store, and we're gonna only access state.getFiltered tasks. Now we're gonna call them, and we can actually also do console log filtered tasks. Let's see if I go to 17, go to application, we see all undefined, all undefined, all undefined. That's good. That means that in our task store, we console log the tab and search query. No, we console log the tab and search query here in the first one, but undefined is what we return from here. If we would return an empty array, that we will see in console log. So what we need to return is a filter version of our tasks. To do that, we first need to get the tasks. So how do we get them? This method, get, is declared but never used. Let's look at the documentation of actually I don't see API references. Get. Don't think it will work like this. Can I consume it? Can we persist to our, yes, we can, and we're gonna cover that as well. Maybe that should not even be inside the store, because that's a method that can use the store. Computed state. Using getter to calculate computer. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, it's simply calling get.value. Okay, let's try. So if I do console log get.tasks, what we're gonna see. Let's first go to 17. Yeah, I think it's correct. By simply calling get, we get access to the whole store. Maybe we need here to select to only subscribe to run this function only when the state.tasks changes. Will that work? I don't know. Let's see. And we need to get them. Let's do const tasks equal get. Let's go ahead and do a console, or maybe return them right away. Return tasks, and not here. Let's do that at the end. And inside index, in the flat list, I'm going to switch from tasks to filtered tasks. So it still works. it returns all of them. It returns all of them, and we can now uncomment this logic to see what are we actually doing here. Return tasks.filter. Yeah, I think that's supposed to work out of the box. Yes, and as you can see, we can move on. We can go to all, search only inside 15, for example. Yes. So with that, that means that we have moved all the functions, maybe not all yet, but let's see. For example, these tasks from the store, we actually don't need it. We only work with the filtered ones. We still have these two kind of getters, number of completed tasks and number of tasks, which in our React context provider, there are two values that are derived. This is usually called derived state. So it always depends on the state itself. And when the state changes, the derived value will also change. And we are using them in a lot of situations. So let's go to our store, and I will move them at the top because they will not be functions. They will be state variables as well. I think so. Let's do that like this. And we need to do get. We're gonna get the state tasks and then dot filter. Hopefully it looks weird, but hopefully it will work. And the same thing for the next one. We need to get the state tasks, and that's gonna be the length. Pay attention at all the here we are inside an object, so we need commas, not semicolons. So now I think we can also import these two, number of completed tasks and number of tasks. Number of completed tasks inside the index, inside the to-do screen. So yeah, let's see how we can do that separately, the same way as we already saw. Use task store, and then from the state, we're only going to take state dot number of completed tasks, and once again for the second one, number of tasks, like this. So does it work if I do cancel? No, actually no. It in fact broke a lot of things. Why? Number of completed tasks get dot length filter. Oh, I need after get, I need to actually access these tasks. Sorry. It returns an actual state, partial state object, and we need to take the tasks from there. Now, please work. It still doesn't. If I'll replace number of tasks with a hard-coded 7, will it work? Can treat properly tasks of undefined. Where? So 6 works if I do it like this. Now, if instead of that, I'm not sure if this is a feature because this might be the suggested way to do it. I think the only difference is that it has to be an actual function that returns this get. Number of tasks still doesn't want. But let me make it a function, return it, and then, I don't know, console log it as well. Oh, come on. What's wrong? So we see here number of tasks. Let me debug what I receive here. Where I'm console logging this all? Oh boy. Oh, here. So number of tasks, this is a function. So it should be number of tasks where in the index. If we would call this one, where we console log it like a function, then it's gonna properly tell us. But I don't want to call it. But if we make it a get in front, let's see. Number of tasks. If we put a get here at the top, doesn't work at all. Use of create set get user get. It's not working, you know. Okay, so when consuming, they are calling it. And still it should be a function. And when consuming it, number of tasks, if I'm not gonna call it here, but if I'm gonna call it where we consume it, it's gonna work and we see here. And the same for the other one, number of completed tasks, we need to call it. And back in here, number of completed tasks will be a function that returns get and so on. One out of 5. And if we change it, automatically updates. And here I will be able to do that and actually simplify it a bit. Okay. 5 out of 5. So everything re-renders correctly. But we still have a lot of issues with TypeScript. So let's have a look at how we can use it with TypeScript. The only thing that we need to do is provide the type of our store when creating it. So let's go ahead and create the type of our tasks store equal. Well, it needs an array of tasks that we can type with tasks like this. These tasks we can either import, but I would rather bring them from the context. I would bring them here into the store, just because usually you'll have them either close to the store or completely in a different file. Vadim is blanking. What's wrong here? Did you mean task? Yes, task. Now, if we send this type to the create, come on, to the create, this one will be perfectly fine. The second one will say, something is not right. Why the get is not, it returns. Why it's not properly typed? Because the set is actually typed correctly. The state here is task store, but in the get, they do not have so maybe we shouldn't actually do that. But I'm wondering if this will hurt the performance, if the number of tasks will update no matter what. But we can try that. So here we only have these issues, but where we import, we still will see issues like, for example, in the task list item, where we import the use task store, it still doesn't know about the delete task function, because in the type we didn't provide the types for our functions. Let's look in the context provider, because some of the types will be similar to this one. So let me try to actually copy all the type of a task context into our tasks store and only update some of the things. For example, set task. It's not going to be set task. We don't even have a setter for tasks. We only have an add task, which receives a title. This is the first one, and return tasks or undefined. It doesn't return anything, so it will return void. Now, next one, change is finished. Change is finished, receives ID and returns void. Change is finished, ID, void. Delete task, string void, get filtered task, tab okay, and it returns an array of tasks, number of tasks. This one is not a number anymore, but it's a function that returns a number. And this one as well, it's a function that returns a number. We had it like a getter here. And just like that, now when we consume this one, it should tell us that the state has this actually function, and we will see even the types. For example, if we simply say number of completed tasks, we're going to see that this one is a function. Okay. Number of tasks in number, this one is a function, this one is a list of tasks. So as you can see, everything is correctly typed. Now we no longer need the use task, not even in our page. So let me go ahead and delete this one. And I will even go ahead and delete the tasks context provider from day 17 completely, because in day 17 we don't need it. We moved everything to Zustand, and even if we need to check like some of the functions, we're gonna look into the day 16. There will be some problems. For example, in layout TSX of day 17, we import the provider. So we no longer need it. Let's remove it, and let's remove even the task provider, but leave an empty fragment here. So if I go to 17, still everything working. I can update, I can add, I can filter, I can search, and I can also delete tasks. Cool, but the problem is that now if, for example, I delete all the tasks and reload the application. Hello, healthy drugs. What kind of healthy drugs are you? If I go back, we see that we always start from the dummy tasks list. So that means that we are not persisting the data. We are not saving the data. Everything in our state and also in Zustand, this is stored in the memory of a phone that is being deleted as soon as you leave the component or as soon as you close the application. And in order to be able to save our state to the device permanent storage, we have to persist the data. If we look at the Zustand, yesterday actually in our context provider, we implemented the saving and loading of data using async storage. So when we mount the component, we use async storage to load the items, load data, and here to save it. So we have also implemented these two functions and the logic behind like when to save, when to load, and so on. Not super complicated, but still it's quite a lot of code to manage all of the persistent, and you need to remember and test it and make sure like that you don't override some unintentional data. With Zustand, as I saw, they are providing quite an easy solution for persistent. Haven't tried it yet, so let's try it. Persisting store data and integration. So the persist middleware enables you to store state in storage, either in local storage for browsers, in async storage, or even in indexed database. Note that its middleware supports both synchronous storage like local storage and async like async, but using an asynchronous storage does come with a cost. Hydration and asynchronous. Okay. Let's go ahead and from Zustand middlewares, import the persist and create JSON storage. Let's see. In our application, in the task store, at the top, let's import these two from Zustand middleware. We see that what we have to do is the create. Inside the create, we put the persist, and everything else remains the same. So inside the create, we put a persist, we add a bracket, and we close it at the end here. And everything else remains the same. No, something is not correct. Wait a second. Set. What's missing here? This is this object. I'm figuring out the brackets and everything. Expected where here? You don't like it there. No, it shouldn't have. Oh boy. Okay, so as we see in the create, we put the persist and everything else remains the same. Oh, but we need name of item in storage and the storage. So yeah, after this one, we still need some information. So let's maybe extract this set and get to... No, I will not do that. I will do persist. I will open it. This is going to be the first parameter of persist all the way till here. Yes. And we need to say the second object and only then close it. And in the second object, we have name, tasks store, and then storage, create JSON storage. By default, local storage is used. Session storage. What's wrong now? Come on. So everything starts with create. This one belongs to this one. Then we have persist. Open. Everything should be correct. My brain. Import. Oh, what happened here? Number of completed tasks. What happened there? That's what was giving the troubles. I'm gonna do the until we get rid of that import statement. Oh, here it is. Okay, now everything is back to normal. And we can start importing properly. Import the persist and the create JSON storage. Only the name. Okay, so let's put inside create. Let's add here persist. Open the brackets. Close it somewhere here. And here provide name, tasks, and the storage. Vadim, hold on, everything is good. Maybe And I disable like the arrows here too. Oh, I'm getting insane. The easiest way would be to take out this whole set for a second and see what's going on. Well, I don't need this. Create, persist, something, then an object, then that's it. Oh, we need to also close the persist. And now inside the first one here, put everything in the set like this. And still not correct. Expected 2 arguments but got 1. How did you get 1? Because you got 2 arguments. Yes, I was simply missing some parentheses. And if you focus a bit more, this is so bad. Maybe we can import it from Zustand middleware. Which one? The persist, that's where I'm importing it from. Name and storage. Anyone else see? Simple example. Create, opening brackets, create, opening brackets, persist, opening brackets, persist, opening brackets. A function that receives set get then returns an object. A function that receives set get and returns an object. Then a lot of stuff here that I can maybe comment out or even delete for a second. Then we close that one, we close this one, and we close these two. Then we provide name and storage. Then we provide name and storage. So where is the problem? Then, okay, we put a comma here, Do I have another version maybe? Maybe persist is argument of state creator. Persist is not assignable to parameter of type state creator. Okay. Now the problem is actually this one. Okay, so probably I simply had to give persist also the task store. But you see, it doesn't want. Oh no. How can we have create and persist work together with the same? Maybe it will work if I add everything back inside our store. I wished. But anyway, if I remove the types, it seems to work. Not what we actually wanted. And what's there includes where includes. Where do you have here? Oh, wait a second. What's going on here? Const. Okay. Can I add back our task store? Well, persist doesn't want. Anyway, now it's supposed to work, but not without types. Go to ToDo. If I check all of them, it's not going to work yet because Zustand middleware unable to update item task given the storage. Yes, because we used a different one, create JSON storage. What we need is to use the async storage from where? Where did you get that? Okay. So we need to send here the async storage. To do that, we are going to import from async storage, we are going to import async storage. And now changing something and then reloading the application. Faisal is saying, hey Vadim, I want to donate, but it's not allowed from India. Oh, I'm so sorry. Maybe you can donate directly on their website to the Save the Children organization. Yeah, we saw that it's not available in all the countries where people want to donate. So yeah, the persistent works. As you can see, we can change, we can add, we can delete, and then after we refresh, everything should be persisted. 17, go. Yes, everything is kept the same. So, guys, it should be easier than I made it look. Probably day 17 takes a toll and I'm already tired. And some brackets, some commas gave me a headache. But in fact, it wasn't anything crazy. We had already our store. All we had to do is wrap it inside the persist function and provided the end. How do we want to store it? Here we are using async storage, but you can use maybe even mmkv here to store it faster on the device. But I'm interested in typing it because so far it didn't allow us to properly type it. Yeah, because if our store is typed as task store. Maybe the store should be somehow. Oh, I type the persist and now it works correctly. Perfect. So instead of typing the create, type the persist, and it works back as it was working before. Now I want to investigate a bit how Zustand, we saw how to use it. We saw how to use the state, how to add functions, derived state, update the state, and so on. What I'm interested in is how it will perform and how it will trigger like re-renders, because that will tell us if it's better than the React context. So for example, what do we want to do? I'm going inside our, let's go ahead in the layout, start by saying console log render and here layout. And I'm gonna do a lot of console logs like this. Index, console log render screen or page. Then we're gonna go inside components, day 16 and not 16, day 17. And starting with the new task input, let's do here render new task input. Task list item. Here we have two components. Let's do render write actions. And below in the task list item, let's do render task list item. And for the input as well, no, for the input we have. And that's it. We have only two components here. I would like to do actually the same for day 16 and compare everything when it comes to the React context. Render layout here, render screen, and in the components we have here, starting from the top, input. Let's do render input. In the list item here we have two components, so I'm gonna do render write actions, and below render task list item, and that's it. Now let's go ahead and first I'm gonna reload and we're gonna do some investigation. Not sure how it will turn out. So here in the console logs, we're gonna see a log every time a component re-renders. The first test is for previous day for an application that uses React context to manage global state. So if I go to the application, let's simply go there. Right away we see tasks filter is not a function. Don't tell me that I'm using the same key to save it. Yes, we are using the same key, tasks. Let's use task store here. Tasks store. And let's think the easiest would be to simply remove the application. Or maybe let me do a bit differently. I don't know, somewhere in day 17 index, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do async storage dot remove item tasks. Let's remove them like this. And for that, we need to go to day 17. Is it worth learning React Native in 2024? I think it's more worth in 2024 than it was ever before. The adoption of React Native is really huge. Like, so many applications on the top applications from the App Store are using React Native. So I wanted to go to day 17. That is supposed to remove a task. I'm going to remove this one and restart to start over. Okay, let's go. Day 16, testing React context and how everything re-renders. As you can see, it starts with rendering the layout, then render the screen, then renders once every items here. It renders the list item, then write actions. This is the first time, so everything is okay so far. Then it renders the input, and it starts again to re-render the screens and the input, again screens and input, again write action, write action, write action for all the tabs that we have there. So as you can see, even when I simply change the tab, components that do not depend on the tab itself, they are actually re-rendering. And also in the same way, if I, for example, add a new item, add new, and enter, it renders the screen, it re-renders the task list item, the write action of all the previous items, the input, then it goes over again once again. So you can see that a simple change in the state re-renders a lot of stuff. Let's compare that with Zustand. And I'm not sure, I cannot say that it's gonna be different. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. All right, starting with the first screen. The first time it goes from layout all the way till the input and so on. I don't even see the input. Oh, new task input. All the way till the screen once again, because it loads the item from state, it updates them and so on. But after this, if I, for example, add a new item, add, it will render write actions of everything. That's what I was expecting. Probably this is actually coming from write actions. Write actions shouldn't update of all these items. But when we move tabs, we don't, or do we? We actually do. I wanted to say that most probably this is a me problem, not a Zustand problem. Why new task input renders when we change this one? Because it's a child component and we didn't memorize it. So yeah. Here comes into play not only like the performance of our global state, but also like how our components are implemented, if they are memoized or not. Filtered tasks. Well, yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna fix all of these problems because, yeah, again, like this is about like the component logic of re-rendering. Maybe we can do another video on that. But anyway, this was our Zustand global state management. For some reason, the energy really dips at the end. But this was a library that is also the first time that I'm trying it. And I think it's really straightforward. It doesn't have a lot of boilerplate. If we look at the store, it's quite clear. And yeah, I would consider using it in our project as well. All right, guys. If there are no questions, let me check the comments. That means that we're gonna see each other tomorrow, because during December we are doing live React Native tutorials every single day. Thank you for being here till the end. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something new, you experimented, you went through the issues and bugs together with me. But anyway, that's the learning process. If you enjoy this kind of tutorials, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are not very close, but we are quite close to reach 100,000 subscribers. And yeah, that would mean a lot to us. Thank you very much. See you